Mayo.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister representing the Minister for Employment. My constituent Rick is 63 years of age. He was unemployed on New Start and registered with Max Employment. He looked for work for over 2 years. Max stood to receive up to $10,000 for placing Rick in work. Max Employment sent Rick to a so-called job interview with Softtech Homes. Rick won the job but realised he was not an employee but a subcontractor required to pay invoices. Rick told Max Employment several times he wasn't getting paid. Rick is now owed more than $12,000. He has no money for a lawyer, no longer hears from Max Employment, and winding up orders were recently issued for Softtech Homes. What checks and balances are in place so that vulnerable job seekers like Rick are not taken advantage of?
The Minister representing the Minister for Employment.
No, fair enough. Well, I thank the member for Mayo for her question without notice, and it is a genuine question without notice, and I'm very glad that she is standing up for her. Well, unlike yours, which are always so predictable, yours are always entirely predictable. I do thank the member for Mayo for her question, and I think it is important to come into the House and to raise issues about your constituency, about particular members in your constituency who have approached you for assistance. And I can see from the member for Mayo's question, unlike the opposition, that she genuinely is concerned about her constituent and would like a fulsome response to that. As she knows, I represent the Minister for Employment in the House of Representatives as opposed to being the Minister for Employment in the House of Representatives, so I will take that question on formal notice, and I will ensure that the Minister, Senator Cash, responds to the member for Mayo directly, and that therefore you can represent your constituent as well as you possibly can. In a wider sense, I would say to the Minister for Mayo that in the last few years that the government has been a coalition government, we've created over 500,000 new jobs in Australia. It is one of the great achievements of the coalition government under both the Turnbull government and the Abbott government, that when we got elected in 2013, we brought a laser-like focus to creating jobs, to increasing growth. And I'm sure the Treasurer will correct me if I'm wrong, but in the next 12 months we expect growth to be around 3% in Australia, higher than any of the other countries in the G7 and easily one of the highest in the G22. So the truth is that the policies that we are putting in place are designed to create jobs and support constituents like the member for Mayo's, whether it's policies to do with the PATH program, which we passed through the House of Representatives yesterday to support young Australians looking for work, whether it's the incentives for employers to take on middle-aged and older workers, the retraining and skilling programs, and of course in my own portfolio of defence industry, the member for Mayo would know as a South Australian that we will benefit enormously because the Turnbull government is ensuring that the $195 billion that we spend on growing our defence capability over the next 10 years, while number one priority is the capability of our defence force, number two priority is maximising the jobs, the industry, the growth here in Australia and in South Australia in the case of the member for Mayo and myself. Should also know that in terms of submarines and shipbuilding, we will take the workforce at Osborne North and South from about 2,000 to over 5,000 over the next few years. A huge investment in terms of science, technology, engineering and mathematics. And so I thank the member for Mayo for her question, and I'm sure that the Minister for Employment will write to her responding in a very detailed way.